Make some noise for your host, Kid Copious.
What up, perps? It's your boy, Kid Copious, back in the Bongo Purple State Party. You know how we roll. It's one of those kind of things. Gonna hit the sippy cup really quick when we get started here. So, fucking 2020, eh? I mean, wow. We get the COVID, we get the lockdown, get concerts canceled. Man, time to spend with my daughter, going to concerts, taken away. My Patriots suck. And then this morning, record on Saturday, this morning, find out that Sean Connery's dead. He was 90, and boy, if you don't know what he did, then, well, you're probably not watching the show. Yes, I don't know why that would equate to that, but yeah, he was the original and best James Bond. Just got done watching Never Say Never Again. I know it's not one of the best ones, but it was the only Bond with Connery in it that I actually saw in the theater. So that was kind of my introduction. My adopted father, was the one who introduced me to Bond. My wife loves James Bond as well. Has read most of the books, in fact. I've read some. But man, in recent years, we've had other James Bonds, and they've made them more politically correct, but more violent, more gorific. And that seems like a real metaphor for how our world is going right now. We've had all of this rioting in the name of, social justice. I understand the radicals' point of view. You got to get noticed. I get that. But they had a secret weapon, and that was the media. The media who spun these stories, the media who ignored. I think when it comes to the media, what they ignore, what they don't say, is far more powerful than what they do say. Because if you simply omit the truth, then, and as usual, our first little meme, cartoon, whatever you want to call it, right here, it's from AF Bronco 2000. AF Bronco, he's a cartoonist, satirist, I guess you can call him. If a tree falls in the swamp and the mainstream media won't report it, will anyone hear about it? And then you got the Biden corruption log right there with China, Ukraine, Russia. There's a lot of evidence there. I mean, the media had no problem running with the false Russian collusion with Trump and the shit show that was the Kavanaugh trial. And they played right along. And they played right along with the riots. They tried to reframe everything as peaceful protest. They tried to explain away the violence. They ignored the innocent citizens, the innocent business owners. They tried desperately to hide the fact that people who were doing it in the name of BLM were burning down black businesses. They've spun a cocoon around BLM so that some people out there don't even understand that they're Marxists, that they're avowed Marxists, that they themselves have claimed to be Marxists, the founders of BLM. They hide this stuff. They're hiding what's going on with Hunter Biden. They're hiding some of the things that Joe Biden has said and done. Stuff that I really thought was common knowledge about Biden saying, for example, that segregation would turn schools into jungles. I thought everybody knew that. People I've talked to recently, they don't even know that. They don't even believe it. They say it's hype. But it was, as I showed a couple weeks ago, it was in a newspaper, for God's sakes. And same thing with the kidnapping in Michigan of the governor. I knew that these people had ties to BLM. I know that some of them did videos saying that Trump was a racist. I knew that, but other people didn't know that because it's been omitted. It's been buried. Washington Post will bury things deep in an article so that they can claim to have journalistic integrity, but The people are reading the headlines. The people are reading the clips that they see on the news, the clips that they see on media, such as Facebook, Instagram, right here on YouTube. These guys don't want you to have all the information because they know how you'd vote if you get it. I try to be objective, and objectively, I see that as the truth. I mean, we kind of know that Trump is a little bit vile at times. He could be a little bit messy with his tweets, but man, that's what resonates with people. We're not perfect. We don't run every little thing that we say past a committee to make sure that it's going to come off the right way. I mean, I saw one from my boy Earl Weber talking about the blue whale's butthole and how it was the second biggest a-hole only to Gavin Newsom. It's kind of raw. It is classless, but so are we. So are we. I'm tired of it running everything by a committee to figure out what to say. Tired of having to thumb through handbooks and shit, man. Trying to figure out what's the word that I'm allowed to use today. Crenshaw right there. Power to him. There is no liberals left in the Democratic Party. Not a single Democratic senator defended free speech or the freedom of press today. This should terrify Americans. He's right. I mean, yes, Facebook has a right to have certain policies. They do. And certain things should not be allowed. Pedophilia, violence, certain, political or racial ideas, things like that. Yeah, I get that. But when people are trying to put out a story that's being buried, and then, Facebook joins in the burying, well, they're making the choices of what to put up. And they shouldn't get like a free reign on it to just post, let people post whatever they want. Well, I don't know. I mean, in the trial, they couldn't name one liberal influencer that's been banned. Whereas the senators or whoever, who probably don't even use social media really, they probably have a team that does it for them. They were able to name the people on the conservative side that have been banned, that have been blacklisted, because it's out there, And again, when you omit things like Lil Wayne standing up for the platinum package, right there, he listened and assured he will and can get it done. Trump's putting in work, and it's not getting covered. People, they don't even know that the dude's donating all of his salary, man. I mean, if you really have a myopic view, incoming view of the world, there's a lot of shit you're going to miss. If you're just reading, like, the blurbs at CNN, you're missing a giant portion of the story. The Hunter laptop. What's going on with that? Why is that not being probed? Why is the media just sitting back and trying to deflect this story out of existence? Either prove it false or prove it correct, but your job is you're supposed to be the investigators. And that's what's scary about what's coming up, If they're going to, hide stories like this, where you have people coming forward and talking about a meeting in person, directly from the source, not secondhand from some retired spy over in Britain, when you have it coming from somebody, why aren't you listening? Why aren't you paying any credence to it? Why is it that stuff's been authenticated and nobody's running with the story? Nobody wants that story. Nobody wants to know that it looks like Biden has been up to some shady dealings. If they were above board, why doesn't he just come out and say, yeah, we know he got like $5 million in loans from a Chinese company. How did that happen? Nobody asked him that. They just, what makes it so bad is if Biden wins and the Democrats get control, the media is going to go into overdrive with the propaganda spins. They're going to lie to us. They're going to convince us that things are okay that aren't. Just like an ad for a proposition tries to convince you it's for the schools, but in reality, the schools are only going to get 30% of the money, and it's going to absolutely F every single every single homeowner out there. See, they hide that. They did that beautifully in California. There was a tax, a gas tax that was repealed, and they managed to convince, even in some cases using Caltrans, they convinced people that the gas tax was needed for highway safety. They stick a third gas tax, and they keep rating it, and it never goes to what it's supposed to go to, and the roads are still shit. And I'm not talking about my local roads, because I understand that's more of a city than a state, but certain things like freeways, I've seen some of the messes that are out there, man. I drive them every day here in LA. I see the mess. I see the mess the city's in, and that the freeways are in, and that the city, they will get rich and they will ruin the country, and the media will stand by to spin it so that we think they're doing a good job. Yeah. I mean, just wait. If you're young and you haven't seen it yet, you'll see it soon enough, because the BS is about to get really thick. Well, hopefully they expose themselves. Hasn't happened yet. But again, if rappers want to make their political decisions based on self-interest, how about not endorsing the guy who let a pandemic ravage the country? Okay, Trump didn't let COVID ravage the country. Okay, first of all, he doesn't have the power to shut down states. The governors made decisions, some good, some bad. Some tried to balance economy with safety. It didn't always go well. Okay, whatever. We know who did what. I mean, Newsom's been so arbitrary, he won't even refer to Disneyland as Disneyland. He refers to it as that park in Anaheim. They're the ones who made the decision. Trump did not allow this to happen. He did not allow it to happen. Maybe he could have had a better response, but honestly, it wasn't going to do anybody any bit of good. I mean, we have put down all kinds of little 6-foot markers all over. We're wearing masks. We're sanitizing. And cases are still rolling in. I don't even think we really know how it's transmitted. I don't even think we know. I think this thing is so far off everybody's radar of knowledge that they don't really know what to tell us. But we're still getting cases. We're almost in fucking November. This popped off really in March, maybe a little bit in February, I guess. And she just wants to blame one guy. If it was her guy, she would be on the other side saying, well, he did everything he could. So, we're going to go into some stupid stuff here. Just because I came across this. Warning shots is TV shit. Just shoot him in the leg. Yeah. Good luck with that, And, most leg shot victims do bleed to death. There's a big artery there. So, really, maybe shoot him in, the right shoulder, I guess. I mean, it'll probably just pass through. It wouldn't even stop somebody running at you. It's not like Hollywood where people fly back. Bullet will just go right through you. So, you're one of the reasons why they shoot into the body is they're hoping to connect with something and knock them or cause them to instantly sorry, that's it's the biggest target. That's the way it works. There's no good place to get shot. And stop repeating stuff because it sounds like the right thing to say. If we all did that, we'd be better off. Stupid thing number 2. How can we have public safety if we abolish prisons and police is like asking, how can we harvest cotton if we abolish slavery? Or chattel slavery. Don't put your fancy words in there. It's a question. I can't even read the rest because it's like eating a bowl full of shit. I mean, her assertion is that we can abolish the police and prisons and have public safety. That would sort of be what we used to do. You know, they used to like murder hang cattle rustlers. So we can go back. We can go back, a couple hundred years, and just let society sort it out. But I'm pretty sure that's going to be a lot more brutal. You remove the police and prisons. That's awesome. I mean, that's absolutely awesome. I mean, you're really worried about what, oh, wow. Because you do realize that criminals will still remain criminals. They'll just get more bold. More people will become criminals because what the hell, why not? And what's going to happen is every time somebody goes into your backyard, like say to get a Frisbee, you're just going to shoot them because there ain't going to be any law. I mean, Bree Newsom Bass, I don't know what the fuck she's been smoking. And then an angry Asian feminist posted. I mean, I smoke some good stuff, but I have a feeling they're taking shrooms, man, if they're believing this shit. But that's just the cuckoo kind of shit we're headed towards if we don't all make the right vote. And speaking of voting, there you go. Now, that kind of sums it up. Bronco again, Biden corruption exposed, people trying to change their ballots. That's that's part of the scheme, really, if you think about it. They want you to vote early, so if any shit comes out, you can't change your vote. They're fucking devious. They're very devious, man. Politicians, especially like the fucking Democrats, man, they're crazy devious. They'll think of shit like that. Just watch when they pull out the 25th Amendment on Biden. Oh, man, that's great. And this is just my favorite. I mean, this is, Mexican word of the day, Biden. If you want to unfriend me for voting for Trump, Biden. I know I've used it before, but it's a great one. Oh, man. I've had a long, shitty day after a long, shitty week, man. The power of medicine. But in all seriousness, this is the last episode I'm filming before the election. I just hope that at some point I could really get around to what I really wanted to kind of get out there, kind of a, more of a third-party slant, more of trying to encourage people to get involved in some way that we end up with a third choice. Yeah, because this left-right bullshit, man, look where it's gotten us. Look what we're on the precipice of. We're about to go over the edge with no boat, no parachute, and just a whole bunch of jagged rocks. And I think that's no matter who we vote for at this point, because the reaction, man, the reaction's going to be bad. Yeah, I hope to see you next week. Copious, out. Whew.